Welcome to the Geeks and Greeks podcast, where we bring in the latest and greatest in the world of sports. We couldn't be more thrilled to kick off this exciting journey with all of you. In this podcast, we'll dive into everything from game recaps to news and hot takes. Whether you're a diehard fan or just someone looking to stay in the loop, there's something here for everyone. So grab your favorite team's jersey, settle in with some snacks, and let's get ready for an adrenaline-packed ride through the world of sports. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. We're going to have a good show for you today. Unfortunately, Pete has some stuff going on and won't be able to join us this week, but nevertheless, we will continue on and we'll have a great show anyway. So, to get things going on, how has your week been going, Tom? What's been up?
Busy. We are in full show choir mode. That means practice till 8 o'clock at night.
Oof. I don't look forward to those potential days because I don't know what to expect, man. Luckily, my kid's only in like 3rd grade, so like I don't have to worry about that at this point. Like they've sent some stuff out. They're like, "Hey, we've got this and this going on for 3rd graders this year," and I've asked her, and she's like, "Nah, I'm good." I'm like, "All right, cool. I don't have to worry about it."
I like my free time. Thank you.
I mean, for what little free time I do have between, work and family stuff and then school too, since I'm in school full time back at this point. So it's like, for what free time I do have, I enjoy getting to use it. Like I've actually been off Monday through today. Actually, today's my last day off this week, but I've been doing some kind of small house projects around the house. Haven't been just laying around, but haven't been getting some stuff done. But so it's been productive last few days and stuff that's been needing to get done, so it's been a good couple of days, so to kind of somewhat relax but kind of work at my own pace too. So but yeah, it's been nice. But I don't know what's gonna happen. I could easily see her doing show choir. She's already, like, half the time she's around, she's already singing, so I mean it wouldn't surprise me if that's in the future cards, so I could see it happening. It wouldn't surprise me.
You have my sympathy if it does.
So, thankfully I've got, a couple years before that has happened, so I got some time for now.
Yep.
By that point, I'll be done with school at least, so thank God I won't have to worry about that. I can take that off my plate by that point.
But to kick things off, let's move along to the NBA Game of the Week.
Here comes a new challenger!
Yes, we did go back to the NBA this week. We did go back to the 2005 Western Conference Finals this week. And this brought back a lot of memories because I actually watched this game live. I remember watching this game live when it happened back in 2005. So to go back and watch it again, it was just brought back a lot of memories from that time because this was my senior year of high school when this was happening.
Geez.
So it was a lot of fun, and this was 2 of my favorite players growing up, too. I loved watching Steve Nash. He was one of my favorites in high school. Absolutely loved him. Loved watching him play. And Tim Duncan was always just a perennial favorite of mine. Dude, just so cool. So fun.
See, I was trying to remember why I didn't watch this game, and the only thing I can think of is that the Pacers had been knocked out of the playoffs, like, the week before, so I might have just been salty at that point.
That's possible. 2005 Pacers either would have been probably knocked out in the first round or possibly not even have made it.
They made it, but they got knocked out early.
Yeah.
I think the Pistons knocked them out.
It's possible because this was right around like a year or 2 removed from the Malice in the Palace. So I think that happened in like 2003, possibly 2004. It may have been '05. I mean, we're right in that time frame when that happened. So this was that same time frame. I'm not sure exactly what year it was. Because I can't remember if it was before or after the Pistons won their championship in '04.
Oh, it was November of '04 was the Malice in the Palace.
Okay, so we're just over a year after that. So yeah, and after that happened, Indiana kind of had it was rough in Indiana for a couple years because after that. So yeah, this game itself though it was a really good game. And it really shouldn't have been, because Phoenix, I mean, outside of Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, this team was terrible. It really was. Like, I mean, Joe Johnson played pretty well, too. But other than that, they got no help from anybody. Like, nobody else contributed except for those three guys on Phoenix. And San Antonio got a full team effort from everybody else. And it's like, I don't know how Phoenix kept themselves in it with those three guys pretty much doing everything for the team, but they did. And it's like, and it was so fun to watch Steve Nash just orchestrate that offense for that team and how quickly they went up and down. And this was the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns teams, which for this time frame was just absolutely revolutionary. Like, a lot of this team was just that. It was about they ran their offense in about 7 to 9 seconds and would get a shot. And it was just so unheard of for that time frame. And a lot of the offenses now are based around that. And it kind of became almost what fast-paced offenses we see in the NBA now are based off of this offense from '05. And it was so cool to watch. And then you saw the biggest weakness was Phoenix's rebounding was terrible. Just absolutely terrible. Their rebounding was garbage. And that was always one of their biggest weaknesses. They were always a bad rebounding team because of it. Because they ran fast and played a little bit smaller to that point, they weren't a great rebounding team for this time period. So, but it was just so much fun.
And I could definitely tell that this was early 2000s basketball because nobody was shooting three-pointers.
Yeah. I think by halftime they had taken, 7.
Yeah, it was ridiculously low.
Yeah, but when they took them, they were good shots. That's also the difference, is they weren't just taking threes just to take threes, too. It's like they got pretty good looks, but they just couldn't hit them either, and that's also part of it. That was part of the problem, is they couldn't make their shots. And it's one of those things. It's interesting that as I come back and watch this, it's like I love this Phoenix Suns team. Like, this was probably one of my favorite teams in this time period, and this comes back to something we talked about before: bad ownership. Because the owner of this team was super, super cheap and wouldn't pay his players. Because they'd get guys that were good on rookie contracts or super cheap contracts, and then when the contracts were up, he wouldn't pay more money to keep the guys around and make real championship pushes. Like Joe Johnson at this time was on his rookie contract, and once it was up, they either traded him to Atlanta before it was up, or he left for Atlanta to get a better contract. And he was absolutely amazing in Atlanta, and he actually got the nickname ISO Joe because he was a great isolation player and a good scorer. And you put him on this team in a couple years where he really, comes into his prime. This is a much better team once he becomes, acclimated to the NBA and gets into his prime and everything. And the owners just cheaped out, would either get old guys coming off injuries and just not as good, or they just get, veteran minimum contract guys that, just aren't the same type of player. And still Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire can drag this team to a 50-60 win team in the West that was just loaded and make it to the second round or Western Conference Finals. That's how good those two were. Because they could drag a bunch of bums to the finals like that. And it's just it sucked to watch. And it's like, if only the owner put some real money into the roster and to the rest of it, this team probably would have been a championship team at one point. And
I also noticed something similar to what they did with the Lakers I think it was this year, but they just played the crap out of their starters. The Suns had 4 of their starting 5 played over 40 minutes of this game, whereas the Spurs, they only had one guy that was over 40 minutes, and that was Tim Duncan. But they just beat the crap out of those 4 starters, and it just seemed like, well, there's your problem.
And that was part of it. I mean, Their bench wasn't terrible. You had Quentin Richardson, who at the time was a pretty good player, but he got hurt. And they even mentioned that in the commentary where he hit his knee and ankle, and they even mentioned it that he was limping pretty bad the couple times he came back in, and that's why he didn't play as much. Like, Jim Jackson came in and hit a few shots here and there, but he wasn't playing well. Like, they tried putting the bench out there, but nobody could do anything when the bench came in. So it's like, if nobody's playing, I mean, only the starters are putting up anything worthwhile. I mean, there's no point at this. So it's like you almost had to keep your starters in because they're the only guys that can score. Mm-hmm. And that was the issue with this game, is that nobody else could score except for basically 3 guys. And that was the trouble that they had, whereas San Antonio had a much deeper team because they actually built their team, whereas Phoenix, the owner just wouldn't give them a competent team to build. And that was the issue that they had a lot of times with Phoenix's runs. Is they get to, like I said, the second round or Western Conference Finals, and then it'd basically be, 5 on 8, maybe 9, because the rest of the teams would have a good 8-man rotation, 9-man rotation. Phoenix has maybe 6, and that's it. And so the starters are just gassed by the end of it because most of their guys are playing 40 minutes a game.
And before we move on, I gotta call out Tim Duncan getting kicked in the groin, and I saw that and it made me cringe in my chair. And I was like, how old was Draymond Green when this game was played? And it's like, yep, he was a sophomore in high school. So I'm like, yeah, he saw this as a kid and was like, I can make a career out of that.
Yeah, he definitely got Draymond at that point. Yeah, and the fact that it didn't really get called even.
No!
Like, I think they got a foul, but he didn't. I mean, they probably could have called a flagrant on that, to be honest. They probably should have, but they didn't.
I was expecting a tech. I was like, he got kicked in the jewels, man.
Yeah, they were a lot looser with the text, because even when they were arguing some of the calls, like, they would explain to him and talk back to him, but they didn't get a tech, whereas, I mean, some of them, as they kind of would get up into him now, they would have been techs in today's game VA easily. And it's also one of those things where I wonder, honestly, I kind of like that better, though, that they don't get technicals as easily as they do now. I think the refs are way too quick to throw out technicals, and it, I think, makes the game a lot worse to me. Like, it's one thing when the players are overly berating the referees, that's one thing, and they get a technical for it. But if just arguing in the heat of the moment in the game, and you get, you get into it, and you're, it's, dude, I mean, I play basketball, all right? Sometimes you're going to say things in the game that just, it's because you're in the middle of everything and it happens. It doesn't necessarily mean something at the time and at the moment. So, I don't know. I think the refs are way too soft about calling technical fouls nowadays, especially for some really, really dumb stuff. But something I did notice and did want to bring up too, and I don't know how to feel about it. It was so different also to see the coaches wearing full suits and not just like team track suits. And I don't know how I feel about it, because it's like one of those things where it's like, it's kind of cool to see the coaches wearing like the suits and everything, but at the same time I also don't have that much of an issue with the coaches being a little bit more relaxed on the bench too. I don't know, like, I kind of like both, honestly. Like, I've seen people want them to bring back where the coaches need to wear like full suits and stuff again, like they used to. I don't know what side I fall on, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
I know exactly what side I fall on. I am a huge Phil Jackson fan, and Phil Jackson lives and dies in that suit. So yes, I think that's something that coaches should bring back.
You think the NFL should bring it back? Make coaches wear suits?
Absolutely not. That is a completely different animal. But speaking of the NFL, this past week we had preseason week 1, and it started off with Colts versus Ravens, and then I pretty much, even with the third stringers playing this, I knew the Colts were going to get hung out to dry. But speaking of getting hung out to dry, I get the feeling that the offensive line of the Colts aren't really fond of Anthony Richards, because boy did they leave him out to dry. there were some plays where they did absolutely no blocking, and just Anthony Richardson just got leveled.
Are you talking about the play where he got injured?
Yeah.
See, it's funny. I actually saw a video where I think it was Chase Daniel. He used to be an NFL quarterback, but actually broke the play down. And he was actually breaking it down. And for the full breakdown, he's like, this actually isn't the offensive line's fault. This is Richardson's fault. Richardson just made a bad read. Because he's like, if you watch the line and watch everything, the line moves the way the protection is called. Richardson just reads the defense completely wrong. Because he's supposed to be reading off to the left where the check down is. And instead he reads he's supposed to read to the right. And instead he reads to the left. Because the way he breaks it down, he's like, look, if your line's going to block completely to the left side, check your right first, because that's where your blocking isn't. And he doesn't check that side. He ignores it completely. And he's like, and you have a running back releasing off there. So if you see that blitzer, if you know you have a running back coming off there, and your line is blocking the complete opposite direction, check that side first. And then if you see the blitzer, dump it to the running back who's releasing off to the flat, which he didn't do. He's like, really? So he's like, so this isn't on the line or anybody else. This is solely on Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was kind of interesting to see an ex-quarterback that played in the NFL break that play down, because I didn't see it live. I only saw the replays of it. And I'm not a film buff and football and stuff like that, so I don't know what I'm looking at for a lot of stuff, but it was kind of interesting to see him break that down and everything. And it's like, I mean, it's a good point. If you do know your line's all blocking one way, you probably should check the opposite direction first.
See, that's why I loved it when Tony Romo did commentary, because he would do that kind of stuff. The commentary was like, oh yeah, they're going to do this. And then they're like, yep, sure enough, they would do that.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting to see what's happening with that, and I don't know. We'll see what happens, and I'll be interested to see who's named Week 1 starter. I mean, think the bar is set pretty low if Daniel Jones is who you're fighting for the quarterback spot with, but from things I've been hearing, he may lose that spot to Daniel Jones, which is pretty sad.
Now, I don't put a lot of stock in preseason or the first 3 weeks of the regular season for that matter, but with these limited numbers, I got to give it to Daniel Jones. He had a better part of the game, and I reiterate, part of one game is what I'm basing this on, and so far that's the way the wind's blowing. We'll see how the next 5 weeks pans out.
I mean, for this point, we'll see how the next 2 for at least Week 1. So
yeah, and then we had Bengals losing to the Eagles. Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but again, like I said, a lot of it with preseason is, it's preseason. We're kind of just getting live snaps and seeing how it works and what plays look like in live action at this point.
Then we had Raiders Seahawks tied at 23, and this is where I learned there are no overtimes in the preseason. Who knew? And then we got it twice in Week 1.
It makes sense. Honestly, if it's preseason, I don't care about a tie. Nobody else should either. Let's just get out of here. Let's keep guys from getting hurt.
Now, on Friday, the only game that was of any interest to me was Browns-Panthers, and that is because I wanted to see what Shedeur Sanders was going to do in the league. And I have to admit, I was happily impressed.
Especially with only 1 week working with the starters.
Yeah.
People have been saying he's set up to fail with only getting 1 week to work with the starters, but he's like, but you know what? I can't remember who it was that said it, but I heard somebody say on one of the podcasts I listened to, or ESPN or somebody, was like, you know what? Would you rather have him working 1 week with the starters or the entire preseason with the second and third stringers? You know what? He got a chance to work with the starters, and I think he made the most of his opportunity. He did a good job, and he didn't look terrible.
Yeah, he was 60% with his completions for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's enough to keep you on Survivor Island, at least in the early weeks.
Honestly, like, I think in watching some of the plays and some of the highlights, because I didn't get a chance to watch this live, but, like, in watching some of the stuff I got to see, you saw some decent progression. Like, you saw him looking through his reads and actually just looking decent in the pocket. And it looked like he was going through his progressions fairly well, too, which isn't something he did great in college.
I'm going to do a hot take, bold statement here. I think at this moment, Shedeur Sanders has cracked the top 20 NFL quarterbacks.
Ooh, I mean, it's possible when you look at the bottom 30.
Yeah.
The bottom 10.
That's why I'm only comfortable with saying the top 20.
I mean, we'll see. Future note, we will have a QB power rankings coming out before the season starts, so we'll see where we put them.
That's true. Shoot, I forgot about that. Now, has he firmly taken the Browns' starting quarterback spot? That's the next question.
Again, I mean, it's kind of like the Colts one where it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, your competition is Kenny Pickett, who's a journeyman after getting drafted in 2022. Joe Flacco, who went to high school in the 90s, and Dylan Gabriel, who probably shouldn't have been drafted in the 3rd round. He probably honestly should have been a 5th or 6th round pick. Like, I mean, there's not much competition in Cleveland. Like, honestly, there's no real reason Shedeur shouldn't be starting week 1. They might go with Pickett or Flacco just because they're the veteran, and they might give the veteran a week 1 start just to give the rookies a bit more time. But at the same time, I mean, if Shedeur is showing decent strides in preseason camps and everything else, he may make it. I don't know.
But then on Saturday, we had a veritable cornucopia of games, starting off with the Vikings, where we got to see J.J. McCarthy do okay.
That sounds like his college career. He did okay.
He was 4 for 7 for 30 yards and an 8-yard scramble on top of that.
I mean, honestly, the scramble to me is what I would want to see more because he is coming off an ACL injury. So I would want to see what he looks like being a little bit mobile in the pocket and being able to move around. I mean, in college, he didn't really throw. He played in Michigan. Jim Harbaugh runs, especially in college, they just ran over everybody. So he wasn't that much of a thrower. They were predicated on the run more than anything. So, I mean, like I said, I would want to see more progressions and really what he looks like mobility-wise is what I'd be looking for out of him.
But on the plus side, like you said, the 8-yard scramble shows that he's not afraid to move, and that is a big thing that holds a lot of athletes back after a major injury, is that they're afraid to use it.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Cowboys versus the Rams, where CeeDee Lamb got laid out by a ref. That was the most interesting thing that happened.
That was hilarious, honestly. Honestly, one of the more interesting things is Joe Milton actually looked really good in that game. He threw for over 140 yards on, I think, 14 attempts.
Yeah.
So,
that was great yards for such... He didn't get a lot of time, if I remember right. But,
I mean, he did because, I mean, that was most of the game. And I think they ran it more because he had 14 or 15 attempts, and then the other quarterback, Will Grier, only had 3. So they only passed it 17 times. I mean, they didn't throw it that much to begin with. But, I mean, like I said, Milton looked pretty good, and you know what? I mean, I'm cool with this. I mean, if they can, train him, and if they're producing him, if we get towards the end of Dak's contract and Milton's playing just as good, I'm cool with shipping Dak out, to be honest with you.
That would make me sad. I think Dak has some serious potential.
I mean, he did. We forget how long Dak's been in the league at this point, man. He was drafted in 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
So, I mean, he's been around for a hot minute. It's not as if he's going to get that much better than where he is now.
Yeah. But then we had Titans Buccaneers, where we got to see Cam Ward go 5 for 8 for 67 yards, and he was the only Titan quarterback to not throw an interception. Way to go, Cam Ward.
Yeah, that's a that really is a positive right there. As long as he shows again, going through progressions and everything else, that's really what you're looking for at this. Really, with this is all you're looking for is showing progressions, showing read progressions, and just kind of looking somewhat comfortable in the pocket and not being too flustered and cool under pressure.
Chiefs Cardinals, where we got to see Gardner Minshew running for a touchdown. That's about it. But the Steelers Jaguars, where we saw Cam Little, a sophomore in the league, kicked a 70-yard field goal. Now, it's my understanding that this doesn't count because it's preseason, but that is amazing. Beating the NFL field goal record by 6 yards, I think it is.
64 is the current record right now. And I'm betting he's going to be picked up a lot in fantasy this year after that.
Yeah, nobody has that certain kicker that you absolutely must have.
Yeah, not anymore. Like, ever since, like, Vinatieri and Gostkowski retired,
Justin
there really
Tucker.
is no, like, set kicker anymore. Mm-hmm. And Tucker. Like, Tucker's done.
Yep.
So it's like, Tucker's
They're all
out,
gone.
Vinatieri's out, Gostkowski's out. There really is no, like, one kicker that's safe.
But then Sunday rolled around, and the day that's supposed to have the most football only had 2 games. One of which was Dolphins-Bears that ended in a tie at 24, and no Caleb Williams. Why? If anybody in a Bears jersey needs rep time, it's Caleb Williams. Why was he not on the field?
I don't know. Maybe he's not comfortable with the new playbook yet. I don't know. Maybe he had a nagging injury or something. Who knows?
A hug.
It could be a number of things that was an issue that we just don't know about.
Oh, well, I guess there's nothing to do but wait till this coming week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah. Week 2 should be where we get a lot of the starters playing, because that's going to be like the old week 3 where they play the starters for at least probably a quarter, I'm going to guess.
Mm-hmm. Start warming them up, getting them ready for the regular season.
Yeah.
But that brings us along to the next segment of the podcast, a word from our sponsor.
Hey guys, what's up? Before we continue our show, I want to talk to you about our new sponsor, Dubby. You ever feel like you need that extra oomph to power through those late night study sessions, clutch those game wins, or finish that epic video edit? I know I do, and I finally found something that actually works without the jitters or the dreaded crash. Let me introduce you to Dubby. That's right, guys, we're partnering with Dubby and we're seriously hyped. Dubby is our new go-to energy drink, and it is a total game changer. What makes it so different is, first off, and this is huge for me, Dubby has no artificial dyes, plus it's all completely sugar-free, so you don't get that quick energy spike followed by a massive crash, and the taste is absolutely amazing. Dubby comes with a bunch of different flavors, such as Tiger's Blood, Green Apple, Strawberry Pineapple, plus limited time offers that do go quickly. I'm currently obsessed with the Tiger's Blood myself, but they're all really good. Alright, so how do you get your hands on this stuff? Head on over to dubby.gg and use our code GEEKS10 for 10% off your entire order. That's dubby.gg, dubby.gg. Seriously guys, go give it a try. You won't regret it. We love this project, and I'm sure you will too. It's definitely been a game changer for us, and I'm stoked to be sharing it with the rest of you. Now, let's go ahead and get back to our show.
But that brings us into the next section of the podcast, Geeks and Greeks News. A quick side note into Ohtani Watch, where my long-lasting hope that he'll hit the 40-40 club a second time is not looking great. He's currently sitting at 43 home runs, so he's cleared the record there, but only 17 stolen bases. And it's mid-August.
Yeah, he ain't hitting that 40 stolen bases again this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
But on the plus side, he is pitching again, and he is doing well. His pitch. So he started pitching, I think, right around the All-Star break, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like a game or two before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
But he started 8 games this year, and he's pitched 19 innings to an ERA of 2.37 with 25 strikeouts and a 1.11 WHIP. Like, he's pitching Cy Young numbers while also hitting 43 home runs,
43.
and stealing 17 bases. This dude truly is a unicorn among baseball players. Because there's nobody else that can pitch at a Cy Young level and hit at an MVP level too. Like, nobody. Nobody else has been able to do this.
No,
Like,
this is...
Nobody else even played two ways. People say Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth wasn't pitching and batting at the same time.
No, he was
Like, he pitched, and then he went to batting. And when he started batting, he stopped pitching.
Yeah, didn't he turn into an outfielder or something like that?
Yeah, he did. He turned into an outfielder, and even then, I don't trust a lot of the outfield numbers back then because they weren't tracking real outfield numbers back then.
Yeah.
So when they try to use a lot of the advanced stuff like WAR and everything else for Babe Ruth, I don't trust any of those numbers because they weren't tracking half that stuff back then. So, but yeah, Ohtani's just... This dude's insane. I can't even fathom how he does half this stuff.
But shifting gears to the world of college football, week 1 is coming up very quickly. August 30th, we'll have the Texas Longhorns, who fell in the semifinals last year, against the 2024 national champions, Ohio State Buckeyes. Arch Manning against the Buckeyes at noon.
This is such a wasted game to put it on at noon. Like, I don't understand what they're doing scheduling this game for a noon kickoff. Like, why would you put number 1 versus number 2 in week 1 and then put it at noon? Like, this is just dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
This is prime time
this
right
is
here.
a prime time game, man. Put this on at 7 o'clock at night and just, you need to run this through everything. Hype this game up. This needs to go through College Game Day. You need to have them in, I think it's in Texas. It's in Austin, I think.
I think that's right.
Like, have College Game Day there. You have Pat McAfee there. You have the entire crew there. They're hyping this thing up. Like, dude, this thing would be absolutely epic. But no, you have this at noon. This is so stupid. Like, I don't understand what they're doing with this. Like, Ohio State even petitioned to move the time even back to like 3, and Texas was just like, no, we're kicking off at noon. And I don't understand why Texas is so adamant to start this game at noon. Like, half their student body's still going to be hungover, if not still drunk. I don't get it.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe they're trying to make it under a hot sunny day for a tactical advantage, but that's all I've got.
I mean, maybe, but the weather here is, it's not that much different than it has been down there. It's a little bit hotter, but it ain't that much hotter. It's been super humid up here lately. So, it's not as if it's going to be that much different. Like,
No,
I don't know. There's no real advantage to doing this. You're actually losing more than you're gaining off of it.
Yeah, this would be a much more profitable game if they would just push it back to, 6, 7 o'clock?
Easily.
Come on, guys.
This is just bad decision making, but it is what it is. It's what Texas does to make bad decisions.
Moving on, this week it was reported that Arch Manning, a college student at Texas starting his sophomore season, had his Venmo account discovered and previous payments were labeled as butt stuff, poo shiesty, nice hair, cheated, and butt. Now, anyone who's putting any significance to this has never been friends with college guys, because that's what this is. This is what college guys do to each other. They're just giant children giving each other crap.
It's not even college, it's just guys in general. Like, I'm sorry, that's just guys in general. It's not even just college level. If you have a close group of guy friends like that, that's gonna stay like that till you're like these 50s. That's the way it's just gonna be.
Oh, for sure.
Once you hit that inner circle, that's just never gonna go away.
Oh yeah, you cannot give grown men a comment line for money they owe you and not expect them to do shit like this.
Yeah.
It's like, what was this money for? Prostitutes.
It's like, yeah, it's not going to be anything appropriate ever. Don't get audited.
But yeah, anyone who thinks this is detrimental to Arch Manning's personality, his psychological profile, no. It's just guys being guys.
Like, I mean, how many times just we said to each other, and even in our friends, like, dude, I'm so glad that we grew up in a time frame where we didn't have, like, cell phones and camera phones, because we would have gotten, like, in so much more trouble than we already did. Like, I mean, it's the same kind of thing, man. Like, I kind of understand to a point now why it's, like, kids aren't doing as much as we used to go and do, because we can get away with so much more stuff because we weren't being watched by everything 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get away with crap. Like, it's so much harder to get away with stuff and do some things just because you're being watched you're being watched everywhere. It's like, I mean, I've talked, not even just to us, but like just a bunch of other people, even coworkers and other stuff, and it's like, if we had like I said, all these cell phones and camera phones and like all this stuff, and people, if our parents could have tracked us back then, like with Lifelink 365, like, dude, we would have been in so much more trouble.
Oh, for sure.
We wouldn't have been out doing half the stuff that we did. Not a chance. It's the reality. But yeah, I mean, it's dumbass college kids being dumbass college kids. This is all this is. Nothing different.
100%.
Arch Manning's still probably a decent kid. I don't see him doing anything. I guarantee you, if we had Venmo and all that back around when Peyton and Eli were in college and it was discovered, we would have seen the exact same thing.
If anything, this gives me faith that he's exactly like his Uncle Peyton.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of crap that I associate with Peyton Manning now.
Hell, they may have been payments from Peyton. I could see Peyton doing this.
Peyton did butt stuff.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can't tell me you couldn't see him doing it.
100%.
Like, I mean, like I said, this could even be a payment from Uncle Peyton. He's just messing with them.
You know, it would be funny if all 5 of these were from Peyton Manning to Arch. Just, hey, here's a little money to get you by.
Here's some weekend stuff. Money or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just Peyton messing with them. Like, I could totally see it. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody's seen any of the Saturday Night Live stuff, or, you know, the random skit stuff, or any of the comedy roasts that Peyton's done, this could just be Peyton messing with them.
You know, I love how I just got done talking about how college guys do this, and then it's like, or, you know, it's his uncle who's, going into his 50s?
Yeah, probably. Or, like, early 50s at this point, possibly. I'm not sure. Yeah, like, it could be Peyton Manning just messing with them. Hell.
But that will do it for our show this evening.
So that will be final thoughts, which are going to be just, I mean, for me, honestly, I'm just excited for the preseason coming up and getting to watch a bit more with the starters coming and working on some other stuff behind the scenes.
And if you're looking for something to do this weekend and you're not interested in football, may I recommend tuning in to the Cookout 400 at Richmond, Virginia Speedway on Saturday, August 16th. Should be fun.
All right, that's all for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Geeks and Greeks. You can also reach us by email at geeksandgreeks@365@gmail.com. Until next time, may the coin toss of life be in your favor. Later, guys.
Peace.